Welcome viewers. In today's world, the security threats are dynamic. Security management is complex and man management as usual faces multidimensional existential threats to their business. We have faced many problems in past and we will continue to face similar and maybe more dynamic and more damaging threats. So far as security professionals are concerned, we know that these threats are at times existential threats to the business. For remaining updated on managerial tools and best practices in the field of industrial security management, it is very essential and it is integral part of continual improvement for career progression that security professionals remain indispensable partners in productivity and profitability of their business. The security professionals need to constantly upskill themselves, and with this objective, we conduct this security leadership discussion with Captain Ajay Pandey. Captain Ajay Pandey, I am really very happy and feel personally privileged to welcome you for the discussion. And for the viewers, let me introduce Captain Pandey, who has been deeply involved in training of security professionals. His endeavors are to prepare potential security professionals for a glorious career and also provide necessary quantifiable and measurable milestones for their professional achievements. He has been a proven risk assessment professional and mitigation expert, creating corporate security protocols for CXOs, investigations, including covert operations, security operations, gold plant security, enterprise resource planning, system development, workflow management, business continuity management, and emergency responses and crisis management. He has expertise in compliance audits and training and development. He is an expert in writing analyst also. So handwriting analysis is another professional qualification which Captain Pandey has got. Captain Pandey is a ICISS state councillor representing Union Territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli. With his expertise and experience in security domain as well as with his certifications from SS, CPP, PCI, CFE, he has mentored a large number of young and retired enthusiasts in enhancing their career and getting high paying dream jobs in India and abroad. The discussion is brought to you by International Council for Industrial Security and Safety Management, which is in forefront in professionalizing the security profession. So, Captain Pandey, welcome for the discussion, which is part of the series of security leadership discussion, in which we bring ace security professionals that made a name and fame, and they are established experts in the domain. You are one of them, and it is singular pleasure of ICISS to welcome you for the discussion. And to start with, I will request you to kindly explain shortly those qualifications which you have, because our viewers must also know about the qualifications you possess and qualifications they can also acquire, and make your opening remark about the continual improvement which you consider must for security professionals.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the words which you have put in, sir. I really am humbled by that, and thank you for giving this opportunity to come and be on this panel, sir. Uh, I've been working in security for last about 27 years in corporate security and eight and a half years in armed forces. And these 27 years, I worked with a manufacturing company, petrochemical, refinery, telecom, mining sector, exploration, and then coming back to manufacturing sector once again. Now, this journey has been very encouraging and very learning. I have the certification which I basically took is basically to confirm that whatever I have learned is certified by the international body. First is certified protection professional, which is the highest standard in the field of security, gold standard it is known as, which is awarded by ASIS International. Next is professional certified investigator, which is specialization in investigations. That is also provided by ASIS International. Then I've done certified fraud examiners, which is Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. There's a body again based out of the United States, which basically trains you to investigate and monitor or manage the white collar crime, which basically happens in banking sector and financial sectors and logistics and inventory management. In addition to that, I am also certified international investigator because that's the qualification level which they wanted to have. They have appraised my background. They see some of the cases which I handled in India and abroad, and that's where they thought that I'm qualifying to that particular certification as well. Handwriting analyst is one thing which I was very much interested. Actually, there are certain things which I do when I'm not able to do anything. I was after surgery. There was time I was given a bed rest, so I thought what to do for 2 weeks in the bed. So I thought, let me learn what handwriting expertise. So I got a tutor who used to come to my house and he used to teach me, and that's what I did, the handwriting expertise, and it really comes very, very handy to assess the people we are talking about. So these are the certifications. Basically, I did it to enhance my profile, to enhance my knowledge and skills, and to bring it to international level. So
the question was, what you think or advise for security professionals to do for their continual improvement? Because when someone is hiring, they hire for what you have already acquired.
yes,
That can be verifiable. There are certifications which you possess at the time of hiring. But then after hiring, when every year someone's name is being considered for promotion, they have nothing to prove that during the period what higher skills, better skills they acquired, and career progression is somehow comes to very, very slow speed, if not standing still. What do you recommend for security professionals to do for their continual professional improvement?
so first thing I would like to say this, that whichever organization you are working, you must first analyze your operations. If you see the security function per se, those people who understand, with whom I have been interacting with in the last uh, about 5 to 7 years, they think security is still the primitive. The security has enhanced over a period of time. The threats have changed. The threats have evolved. And similarly, the security profession has integrated into the core business. So, as a security professional, it becomes very much important for us to understand what the core business is, how it is done, what are the processes involved into it. And once you understand those processes and acquire the skills about that particular processes, it becomes easier for you to manage your security profession itself. Now, giving an example, if I have, when we were working at, I was working with Reliance Industries, or when I was working with Telecom in Reliance, that is the time, though security is my job, I have to provide security to MCNs, BTSs, and offices, and the corporate offices, etc. But at the same time, I did not know how the customer is acquired, how the sales are being done, how the data is being monitored, how calls are being tracked, how interaction with the law enforcement agencies is supposed to be done. So I had to go through every step and learn how they do it. I had to go into the system, sit down and understand how the people are, sales are done, how the customers are acquired, what documentation was done with them. Now, once I got all those things, it became very easy for me to keep a track of all the frauds which were happening in the telecom sector. Reliance opened up its doors as with a monsoon hangama, and millions of customers were acquired in a very short span of time. And the authentic data validation, document verification process were neglected, or it was not so thorough. So once I got through the entire system, the management saw how much involved I am into the system, etc. So I was the only circle manager or regional manager in India out of the 12 circles. I was the only person who had the access to entire database of Reliance, which was not given to anybody else, but it was given to me as a security professional because I had developed a team which was going through and monitoring entire data. In my 2 years of service, I recovered 290 crores of rupees for Reliance Industries back from the fraudsters which we have taken from them. So that was possible. Now somebody will say this is not your job. It's a sales team and the recovery team and all this stuff. But since I had those skills which I acquired during my work with Reliance, so I had the access to that. I used to analyze those data. I had a team developed which was continuous 24/7 monitoring the data. Wherever the thing was going wrong, that was not correct. One document type of name or one name and 10 phone lines are given to to issue to him. One person, 40 phone lines are issued. Then I used to go to investigate. I had a team physically going on ground, finding out the things. We used to track those phones, and I could recover that money for the company. Now, here, my role was way beyond the boundaries of the perimeter. I was not only helping protecting the assets, but I was helping to protect the bottom line of the industry. Now, that was important. So, as a security professional, we'll have to see that the organization where we are working, the process which is involved into it, the process or what is the core business which the company is doing, and you need to see your own skills, do a SWOT analysis, understand what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are the opportunities and what are the threats. I mean, these four things are there. Now, once you see there is a gap in your knowledge or your skill sets, now those are skill sets one must target to acquire by working on yourself or taking a help from the learning and development team, which most of the corporate offices have got. Approach them, tell them this is what you want to learn. Many times it happens that as a security professional, they will say, "Sir, aapko jaane ki zarurat nahi hai, aapka kaam nahi hai." This is a very common thing that you'll hear. Though this type of mentality is reducing day by day. But when you say, "No, I want to learn," fine. You think that it is not it's not my required for me, but I think it is required for me. So when you acquire those things and you add your security domain knowledge into it, you come to know that you become a force multiplier for the entire operation, not only for security, but for the core business. This thing can involve learning new program, learning new applications, learning new business management platforms, maybe it is SAP or SCADA or Scala. It could be anything, whatever is being used. So that's one thing which you should use. Sir.
If I may be a little blunt, I will ask the question again because
Yes.
it is like a patient going to psychiatrist seeking the solution of the problem, and that psychiatrist says do the introspection. So I am that kind of person who approaches you for the guidance. So SWOT analysis अगर होता तो मैं कर लेता, but then you
Sir.
are expert. I'll ask a very upfront, a very clear question now. That suppose you are the person doing the recruitment of security professionals.
Sir.
What are the qualifications you will look first and foremost? Forget about a candidate coming from armed forces background.
Sir, I will look for a person like uh, I look for a person who is good in leadership, who's got a personality, who's got a positive attitude, who has got a will to learn, who's got adaptability. Because the most of the time, what we face or we see the people when they come out. I'm also an army officer, so when I make a comment, I take the full responsibility of my comment, and I am part of that thing. So please don't misunderstand me that I'm passing a remark after coming outside. I've been through that process, changing myself. So adaptability is one of the most things. If the person is adaptable, he'll be able to do very well in the corporate world. The first thing which I look at, if I start like this, sir, that when we look for a career outside transitioning from armed forces, I will advise all the officers first to do a good introspection themselves to understand what basically they want to do. We all joined armed forces because that was our passion at that time. Now, when we are leaving armed forces and coming outside, we should again redefine and realign ourselves and rethink what is going to be our passion. That's what I do. I ask people questions to identify what is your passion. So join a job, do a job which gives you excitement and which basically satisfies your passion. That's what one should do. So identifying a particular thing. So outside when you see, identify what you want, which domain. You want to go to security, you want to go to cyber security, you want to go to logistics, administration, HR, technical field. There's a huge this thing, and you must align that thing with your qualification, with your experience in armed forces, and then you see, okay, this is the goal or this is the domain which I want to select. Then you understand what the gap is. If you are not able to identify, there are a lot of experts who are on our forces network, etc. And people like me are there who are there to help out people to go through an entire discussion. We discuss hours together for every individual. Now, once you decide the domain, then you see what the gaps are. And once the gaps are identified, then we have to make a plan to start working on those gaps. That could be skill sets, it could be qualification, it could be certification. Also, one must understand how much time is available with you, right? And what is your aspiration? There are some people, they call me and they say me, sir, mujhe CEO banna hai company ka. I mean, this is a straight question asked to me last month. One gentleman was talking to me. I said, CEO अगर बनना है तो आपको सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी ज्वाइन करनी पड़ेगी, उसके CEO बन सकते हैं. किसी अलग बिजनेसमैन में सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल होकर के आप CEO नहीं बन सकते, राइट? तो ये कंसेप्शन होता है. दूसरा, लोगों को डिजिग्नेशंस का बड़ा शौक होता है. जब मुझे डिजिग्नेशन वाइस प्रेसिडेंट चाहिए, डायरेक्टर चाहिए, इसके नीचे नहीं चाहिए. जनरल डिजिग्नेशन से अच्छा लगता है जरूर, बट डिजिग्नेशंस आजकल बड़े डाइल्यूट हो रहे हैं. जो जितनी मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज हैं उन सब में सब मैनेजर्स होते हैं, और अगर आप उनकी कॉमन बातों की भाषा में जाएंगे, हर आदमी पूछेगा हु इज योर सुपरवाइजर. ना सुपरवाइजर, हम सोचते सुपरवाइजर छोटा आदमी है, किसी लेबर का जो सुपरवाइज करता है वो सुपरवाइजर नहीं. अमेरिकन टर्मिनोलॉजी के अंदर सुपरवाइजर इज एनीबॉडी हु सीनियर टू यू. If you are a CEO is your supervisor. This is the question will be asked. So do not take those words as that. You must know, you must understand the job description which is given to you. That basically defines what is the role you are being assigned for. And once you see the job description, that is the thing that you must understand. ये काम मैं करना चाहता हूँ या नहीं करना चाहता हूँ. दूसरी चीज, एक गलती हम और करते हैं, हम जो है get carried away with huge buildings, metropolitan cities, beautiful air-conditioned offices, spick and span, dustless, in working environment. लेकिन क्या लिटरली आपका टेम्परामेंट उस तरीके का है? अगर आप मुझे उठा के गूगल में या अमेज़न में बैठा दें, I probably may not be happy person, because वहां पर systems are, those companies are so matured कि आपको कंट्रीब्यूट करने के लिए मुश्किल से 2 या 3% का चांस होगा. The company is already sitting at 97%. 97% को 3% ऊपर ले आने के लिए जो आपको एफर्ट्स डालने पड़ेंगे, that will be exorbitant. So finally you might land up doing the same thing every day. There could be a person who says कि नहीं यार, मुझे कुछ नया क्रिएट करना है. I worked in Africa for 15 years because my profile was changed, or rather I took an opportunity to change my profile. I was looking after an investigation, then they said, okay, well, take the management of the country. I took the management, then the CSR was added into my profile. They said, okay, fine, दूसरा country डाल देते हैं. हर 2 साल में मेरा प्रोफाइल कंपनी एनहांस करती चली गई, इसलिए मैं 14 साल रुक गया. अगर मैं मोनोटोनस हो जाता मैं शायद छोड़ के चला गया होता. So you need to understand what exactly is the fire in you. You want to go into a system, फर्स्ट क्लास एयर कंडीशन एनवायरनमेंट, वहां बैठ के आप काम करना चाहते हैं, जो चल रहा है ठीक, उसको फॉलो करेंगे. यू ऐड योर वैल्यू. ऐसा नहीं करते कि ऐसा नहीं होता कि हम कुछ उसमें वैल्यू ऐड नहीं करते. वैल्यू ऐड डेफिनेटली होगा उसके अंदर, लेकिन एक वैल्यू होता है 90 से 97%, 98% लेके जाना, एक होता है 20 से 80% पे लेके जाना. वो जो सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलता है, वो जो किक मिलता है 20 से 80% पे लेके जाना, दैट्स वन थिंग. समबडी लाइक्स, ही विल नॉट, मे नॉट बी हैप्पी अबाउट इट. सो आपको ये आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा, ये इंट्रोस्पेक्शन आपको करना पड़ेगा, और यू नीड टू सिट विद पीपल लाइक Captain Ajay and Captain Pandey, who will be able to help you out to take out those, pick your brains and tell you ये करना बच्चा, इससे तुम्हें फायदा मिलेगा. दूसरी चीज होती है जो स्किल्स होती है. जब आपने एक बार डिसाइड कर लिया, some people say मुझे अब्रॉड काम करना है. अब्रॉड काम करने के you need to understand कि लोग कहते हैं मैं अमेरिका में जाकर काम करना चाहता हूँ, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में करना चाहता हूँ. ठीक है, if you are a cyber security professional, technical fields, etc., you may have much better opportunity to go and work over there. But if you look at security professional going to working in America, nobody will take you directly. You may join Amazon, Flipkart, Capgemini, etc., and then from there they deploy you there or post you there. That is possible. But some American company directly hiring you for America or Canada or Australia or New Zealand, it will not happen, because they themselves have got huge pool of veterans who are coming back from Afghanistan war, Iran war, Iraq war, etc., etc. There was a huge pool of veterans. So why should you take a veteran from India? Right? So that thing goes down. So अपनी employability को, अपने skill set को improve करके या तो उस level पे लेके जाइए कि वहां पर उनके पास available नहीं है. और हायरिंग के लिए, अब्रॉड में हायरिंग के लिए सबसे बड़ी चीज जो भी कंपनी जाती है, इट मेक्स एन एग्रीमेंट विद द गवर्नमेंट दैट हम इतने एक्सपर्ट्स लेकर आएंगे बाहर से, वो किसी भी कंट्री से हो सकते हैं, उस कंट्री के नॉन दैट कंट्री पीपल, देयर इज अ फिक्स्ड नंबर व्हिच इज गिवन टू देम, दे कैन नॉट एक्सीड दैट नंबर. And then whenever they get an expat, they have to certify to the human resource ministry of that industry कि ये जो स्किल सेट मैं लेकर के आ रहा हूँ, कैप्टन अजय पांडे को लेकर आ रहा हूँ, वो आपकी कंट्री में अवेलेबल नहीं है, इसलिए मैं लेकर आ रहा हूँ. अगर वो जस्टिफाई ना कर पाएंगे तो आपका वर्क वीजा नहीं बनता. तो आपको अपने स्किल सेट्स उस लेवल तक लेके जाने पड़ेंगे कि आपकी कंपनी, जो कंपनी में आप अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, वो ऑथराइज कर पाए, वो कन्विंस कर पाए ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मिनिस्ट्री को कि ये स्किल सेट अवेलेबल नहीं है, इसलिए मैं इस आदमी को लेकर के आ रहा हूँ, तब आपको मिल पाता, अदरवाइज नहीं मिल पाता. तो आपको इस नॉलेज को देखते हुए आपको अपने स्किल्स और अपने कॉन्फिडेंस को एनहांस करना पड़ेगा, सो दैट यू शुड सी दिस इज द टारगेट व्हिच आई एम टेकिंग इट. आपको एक चीज और बताऊंगा, मुझे अगर मैं चाहता हूं अमेज़न में काम करना, मैं चाहता हूं गूगल में काम करना, बट nobody will take me. I have been told point blank no to me by Amazon. Right? Reason क्या? Because मेरा 15 साल माइनिंग इंडस्ट्री का रहा है. माइनिंग इंडस्ट्री के अंदर मेरा टेम्परामेंट जो है बहुत बदल चुका है. वर्किंग इन अफ्रीका, I work on a very high risk. I worked in very high risk environment, right? And I've got a tendency of taking lots of risk as well, and a very challenging this thing, right? So they think कि मेरे 15 साल का जो टेम्परामेंट बन चुका है वो कॉर्पोरेट में आके फिट नहीं हो पाएगा, बिकॉज they want more sophisticated people and more calm down approach, and we have to follow the processes, etc. तो उसमें नहीं कर पाएंगे. That's what the thinking is. Though it may be different, and when I go and work over there, I'll be working differently. But this is what the thinking is. Banking sector वाले को उठा करके आप जो है माइनिंग में नहीं डालेंगे, बोले बैंक में काम किया इसको नहीं लेंगे, यहाँ पर माइनिंग में फिट नहीं होगा, right? Because what risk.
While at temperament,
sir,
the point comes here in the discussion. It is conventionally thought to be a playground of people coming from armed forces.
sir,
Those who are from uniform background, they thought it to be very natural that after hanging their uniform, they will just put on a business suit, get a business card printed, because their transition is so smooth. So those people who worked in submarine thought to be immensely qualified to do the physical security of production heavy industry. So that was the time. Maybe it was acceptable. Maybe they were absorbed in security profession. But those who come out of armed forces or from uniform background, from CAPF, maybe, are they naturally already trained and just they change their attire and join a security profession? Is it a myth or is it still a truth?
Sir, the uniform services or armed forces services gives us a lot of leadership skills and a lot of personality traits, which are very helpful, and that is why people outside, they always trusted armed forces people, that, and they gave that assignment to them. But now with the technology and the change of environment, the change of business environment has want more skills than what we get in army. हमारा आर्मी का जो हमारा रिस्क असेसमेंट होता था, वो रिस्क असेसमेंट टोटली डिफरेंट है कॉर्पोरेट के रिस्क असेसमेंट से. और इसीलिए यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे armed forces people are going to be having challenged very badly by the people who are coming from Reliance Security Training Academy, Adani Security Training Academy, and similar other industries. They have developed their own training academies. These people are NCCC certificate graduates. Many of them are technical graduates, like B.Tech qualified. They are joining army. They are joining security academies over there, and they are put through 1 year of training program of industrial security, along with your all whatever we do in armed forces and academies, like your obstacle course, your swimming test, your horse riding, your 2 kilometers and 10 kilometers race backs, etc. Everything is involved, but they are trained on industrial security. Now the classroom training includes law, it includes human psychology, crowd mentality, it requires communication skills, technical knowledge, computer skills, everything, complete package. So those guys who come out, they know exactly what the loss prevention means, how the corporate security is supposed to work. Now, these people, they come with a complete knowledge of industrial security. Here, the armed forces officers come with a complete disciplined environment. They have not seen the corporate. And when these two things come as a competition, these people are taking over from them. As on today, my first batch, which I ran, was rather the pilot project which I ran in Surat in 1995, those people are all sitting in Capgemini, Verizon, Cognizant, Iris, right, JP Morgan, Amazon, all these people sitting as vice presidents in that place. If I have to join that company again, I'll be probably working under one of my old students. So that's the case. So it's a very tough competition, is there. Armed forces personnel are very much welcome. They are respected, highly respected. But this has also happened that the current organization, the gentleman who came in here, he came after commanding a unit. And he tried to make this place run as a command. Can you believe it, sir? I'm going to stick only outside my office right now. It was deployed by him. Do we require these type of things? Do I have to walk into my office with a cane in my hand? This is just to show that I'm from armed forces. Do I have to wear a hat and a ODC briefcase I have to carry to show that I'm an army officer? We don't require that. So we have to shred that hierarchy. There are organizations, multinational big organizations in this country where the directors are from the ranks. Right? If I work, and those people coming as a sergeant or petty officer from naval officers, and they are sitting as highest most position in those organizations, they sometimes ask you, Colonel Saab, आप मेरे नीचे काम करेंगे क्या? Right? So हमको break करना पड़ेगा. I'll tell you, मैंने अफ्रीका में मेरे जिनके नीचे काम करा, they all were sergeants from New Zealand Army. I was being interviewed for a position, for Asia Pacific position for Amazon. Those two people who were hiring, those two people who were supposed to be my counterpart, one looking after entire Europe, one looking after entire US. और Asia Pacific सारा मुझे देखना था. I was at the last round, but then COVID came and position went out hold. वो दोनों Air Force के sergeants थे.
Yeah, this has happened in India also in many organizations, and ego clash led to that position that someone was compelled to resign. For those who come from armed forces background, they come with the baggage. And for them, the hardest process is not about learning new skills. The hardest process is unlearning. Unlearning, part of that would be that how a general needs to be reminded that he is not general anymore, and there is no fun or no pomp and ceremony attached to the head with the stars on head. That is not needed. You mentioned about Colonel Saab walking with the stick. That is not needed. But then they probably fail to understand that their performance will speak louder in corporate world than the rank they held in armed forces. That might be their elementary qualification or the reason for their being chosen. But that is not the end of their entire career, total sum. Anyway, back to the question of continual improvement. Suppose I have started my career and now 5 years long service. I try to prove to my boss or new recruiter where I want to go for career progression that this is what I learned in 5 years. What is there, to show? Because a continual improvement must be quantifiable, measurable also.
Yes,
What
sir.
are the options for this kind of situation?
So what I have done is that I have, I did the same thing as which I made for this particular company. Here it was not missing. My previous company where I was working in Africa, that time, anybody who suppose I'm hiring a person, I've seen his resume, I've interviewed him. When I interview him, I see what skill sets he has got and what skill sets are missing. So I take a person that he has got a will to learn and the crowd available. Suppose I've got 100 CVs and out of 100 CVs, there are two people I have to select and these two are the best out of them, but they're still not 100%. So that's the time I also fill in need assessment form, a need assessment document. Now that need assessment document clearly says that this guy is fit. He's got 80% skills which is required, 20% is supposed to be acquired. Now those 20% will come from which type of training, whether it's technical training or behavioral training or leadership training or maybe whatever identified that time from the list of documents or list of training needs which we have designed for our organization. So that's one thing. And then what happens, for every position, the skills, knowledge and qualification, these are defined for every position. Now suppose अब एग्जैक्टली अगर हमने एफ आर्मी और आर्मी से कंपेयर करूं, बिल्कुल वही चीज रेप्लिकेट की हुई है यहाँ पर। हम जब एक हवलदार को नायब सूबा बनाते हैं तो हम चीज रखते हैं उसकी इतनी सर्विस होनी चाहिए, उसने हिंदी 1 किया होना चाहिए, मैथ रीडिंग 2 किया होना चाहिए, इंग्लिश 3 किया होना चाहिए, ये किया होना चाहिए, राइट, बीपीटी में उसका एक्सीलेंट आया होना चाहिए, राइट। सो दीज आर कपल ऑफ थिंग्स। एग्जैक्टली उसी तरीके से हम कॉर्पोरेट में भी नीड असेसमेंट करते हैं कि एक रैंक से एक डिजिग्नेशन से दूसरे डिजिग्नेशन में प्रोग्रेस करने के लिए क्या चीजें जरूरत है, उसका वर्क स्कोप कितना बढ़ेगा और उसका जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन डिटेल बना होता है। सो दोनों जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन, करंट पोजीशन और फ्यूचर पोजीशन की जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन को कंपेयर करके उसके नॉलेज, स्किल एंड स्किल्स को और क्वालिफिकेशन को, उन तीनों को डिफाइन किया जाता है। एंड दैट्स हाउ वी टेक इट। आई हैव मेड दिस थिंग फ्रॉम ऑफिसर, ट्रेनिंग ऑफिसर अप टू वाइस प्रेसिडेंट। और उसमें यह भी लिखा हुआ है कि कौन जो है ट्रेनिंग ऑफिसर से वाइस प्रेसिडेंट 21 साल में बन सकता है और कौन वहां पहुंचने के लिए जिसको 32 साल लगेंगे, बिकॉज उसकी जो परफॉर्मेंसेस होगी उसके ऊपर उसके आगे लगे। घोड़ा घोड़े की लेन में दौड़ेगा और गधा गधे की लेन में दौड़ेगा। जो घोड़ा है वो वाइस प्रेसिडेंट 21 साल में बन जाएगा, 0 से 21 के अंदर ही बी वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, और जो गधा है वो 32 इयर्स की सर्विस से बनेगा। वेदर ही स्टेज विद मी देन दैट इज हिज प्रोग्रेशन। सो ये चीज बहुत जरूरी होती है। तो जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन को देखते हुए अगर वहां पर आपको गैप नजर आता है, उन गैप के स्किल्स को करना पड़ेगा। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मैं एक कंपनी के अंदर काम कर रहा हूं और वहां पर मुझे लगता है कि माई कंपनी इज गोइंग फॉर ISO 9000। ISO 9000 इज नॉट ए मस्ट क्वालिफिकेशन, राइट। तो मैं अपने डिपार्टमेंट को बोलूंगा कि आई वांट टू बी ऑडिटर, लीड ऑडिटर और इंटरनल ऑडिटर, प्लीज लेट मी गो फॉर ISO 9000 सर्टिफिकेशन एज वेल। वैसे डिपार्टमेंट खुद ही प्लान करता है, दे गिव दिस इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी टू पीपल, उसमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, जनरली यू विल गेट दिस थिंग अपॉर्चुनिटी। बट इफ नॉट, यू कैन वॉलंटियर। वंस यू लर्न, आप एक ऑडिटर की फील्ड में चले जाते हैं, आपका डेवलपमेंट डिफरेंट तरीके से होता है, आपका इंटरेक्शन डिफरेंट होता है, आपका जॉब स्कोर रोल चेंज हो जाता है, देन प्रॉब्ली फ्रॉम मेन सिक्योरिटी आप जाकर लीडरशिप और सिक्योरिटी ऑडिट पे चले जाएंगे उठा करके। सिमिलरली देयर आर शॉर्ट कोर्सेज फॉर रिस्क असेसमेंट। Suddenly, आप रिस्क असेसमेंट की फील्ड में चले जाएंगे तो you can diversify you and go into the different field altogether. You have got skills and you develop your enhance your skills in computers, information security, do CISSM, CISSP, and start working, contributing in your existing role into those fields. You suddenly will be picked up by the other department. They'll pick you and come to this side. They suddenly see you that you've got a lot of flair for training and development. And in couple of sessions which you have done with your corporate team, etc., they'll say, okay, Pandey को training and development डालो, security में किसी और को लेकर के आओ. So बाहर it is very fluid. Opportunities are plenty. You will see people going from one domain to other domain. Security professionals has gone to go highly technical domain, they have gone into it. But that flair and that flair and the opportunity you'll have to grab and work onto it. Initially जो काम आपका main काम है उसके साथ आपको करना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा लोड लेकर के, और धीरे धीरे आप देखें हम ड्राफ्ट करके वहां से वहां चले जाएंगे और उस फील्ड के आप निकल के चले जाते हैं। सो जिस भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में आप काम कर रहे हैं उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में देखिए पूरा किस तरह की चीजें हो रही हैं, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को बाइंड करने के लिए, उसको रन करने के लिए, उसको प्रोग्रेस करने के लिए, उसमें कौन सा एलिमेंट है जिस एलिमेंट में आप कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं एज ए वॉलंटियर। Get into that place, do the work, and suddenly you become a master and you start taking over this thing, and company might send you for specialization. Like when I was in Africa, I was looking after security, but companies saw that my community dealings were very, very good. They sponsored me they enrolled me into Johannesburg University, Wits University in Johannesburg, 1 year for a CSR, corporate security responsibility program. So I did my diploma in CSR from Johannesburg because companies saw how I was doing it. And the hindsight of it was, my relations with community was such that from 2010 till 2020, there was not a single incident, major incident happened in my security incident happened in any of my operations in 6 countries because of my engagement with them, because anything moving in the community I used to come to. So that saved so much of risk. Sir.
My question was from different perspective.
Sir.
Suppose I am doing what you advise. My supervisor knows, my management knows that this is what I have been doing. and there are additional portfolios also with me. I am doing full justice to that. But having done that, shouldering additional responsibility also, when I apply for a job elsewhere, then I have those original certificate, qualification certificate, or experience certificate, or something which I can share during the interview that I joined so and so company at this time, and 5 years or 6 years experience I have gathered. But additionally, what skills, knowledge, or qualification I acquire, that is nothing to be shown because there is nothing tangible in the form of certificate or the dossier because this cannot be shared. So my question was that while I am working as security professionals, I attend a training program which gives a certificate. I do some online training. Again, there is certificate. This is measurable because we know the syllabus, we know that how tough it would be, and then certificate is maybe I do some offline or online training programs or certification programs. These are the tangible things to do and to be presented to new recruiter.
Sir, the thing
So,
is like,
pardon.
sorry, sorry.
So my question was that in Europe there are many certification programs. In India, do you see some training programs, certification programs, or those workshops or seminars which do have credit point, which can be shown, which can be proven as measurable, quantifiable evidence of continual improvement? That was my question, keeping in mind career progression of the individual.
Sir, I'll answer it in two different parts. One part is that when you start shouldering additional responsibility, you start learning about that skills and the different type of assignments or domains, and you start progressing within your organization. Within your organization, you can change your stream, change your domain as well. That happens. But if you are going to change the organization, in that case, you would definitely might not believe or they may not understand about your claim that you have learned these many skills at that company and you are qualified to handle a different stream. For example, company working in a company, if I acquire my skills into cybersecurity and I cannot go to another company and say I'm a cybersecurity expert. So in that case, we will definitely have to go in for tangible certifications which are provided by the credible institutions. And with that, I can go and I can show that certification. As at the same time, I can share my knowledge with them during the interview and convince them that I am suitable for the role for which I am applying. Now, last about 5 to 7 years or so, the number of training institutions which have mushroomed in India has been very, very high. Now it becomes very difficult for the professionals to understand that which is right to pick, which one is the credible one, which is not credible. As a bottom line, as a single thing, I will say any certification which you get easily, it is a paper mill actually. It's a certificate paper mill. That's what people call it. So please do not go for an easy one. Please select first is do a bit of research about the qualification which you're going to go for it. If not, ask people who are into similar stream or people like Captain Ajay there this organization had been really, really helping a lot of security professionals pick up those credible certifications, work for it, and it is difficult, but you'll have to work for it, and those certifications will be credible. Otherwise, I will not name them. They are doing very well. They are on the forces network also, and there are a lot of our armed forces people are working on those certifications, but the credibility is zero. Like there is a company there's an organization in Chandigarh, OSIIM. That institution is one organization which awards graduation in security management. It's an Indian company. Other than that, there is a university in South Africa which gives a graduation in security management, and there is no other organization like that. But if you see CISM, ASIS International, ISAC, CRED, These are the organizations, ACFE, right, or PMIs. These are the organizations which basically give you credible certifications. Now here again, I'll come back again to one thing. Instead of rushing for the certification, you must divide the qualification. And this is applicable for the people who are planning to transition from armed forces to civil world. When you see the qualifications, or when you want to acquire a certification, you must acquire the must-have qualification first. Then you should go for should have, then you should go for could have. What I see from my experience and by my interaction with most of the people, they acquire themselves with a could have qualification. They don't go for should have, they don't go for must have. So there is a big gap in understanding in armed forces. एक typical सा है, मैं तो तब भी करता था, अगर Captain Sanjay has gone and done some course, वो course करके वापस आए, कौन सा course किया तूने, ये course है, study material दे दे. So we all have got a heap of study material sitting over with us. We have not studied about it. Or we say, a lot of people are doing this course, let me also do this course. A lot of people they have done multiple courses. They have done law, cyber law. They have done taxation. They have done CFE. They have done CPP. They have done PCI. HRM किया हुआ है. इतना क्या करें आप? Human resource manager, general counsel और security professional, cyber security professional, सारा एक साथ नहीं बन सकते. Many officers, when we talk to them, they say कि sir, I'm good at everything. I have been a go-getter and I've created wonders in my organization. ठीक है. Now you narrow down and come down. What is one line which you want to follow? I'm not saying that you can't change the line, but एक define करके उस पे लेकर के आओ. So instead of wasting money, time, and efforts on non-credible certifications or qualifications, or could have qualifications, you must target must-have qualifications first, and only those ones. Then should have qualifications are the one which you should use as a continual improvement points, as a continual improvement qualifications. लेकिन must have के लगे खाली should have ले लोगे, could have ले लोगे, तो कुछ नहीं मिलेगा.
In fact, Captain
Sir.
Pandey, I was for a very short period, I was looking after the recruitment function. With management qualification, I was shifted to HR frequently, but attitude and aptitude was for security, so I always came back to security function. But once I was doing the shortlisting, and one candidate was kept aside. And one of my junior asked that he's so qualified and you are not shortlisting, you are not putting his name in the list. And I said that he is overqualified. So people have to realize that being qualified, being overqualified, and being confusingly qualified are three different things. You are acquiring qualification from diverse field and subjects that has nothing to do with your career progression. One needs to keep this thing in mind. And second thing is that yes, at one time, a recruitment department also think someone being overqualified. So this is not it is in fact the practice in recruitment that someone found to be overqualified for the job is also not a guarantee that someone would be shortlisted. You don't even get the interview letter for that.
Yes.
So now we are at the fag end of the discussion. I request you to share with our viewers 3-4 points which I think a person who is planning to start the career in security management must keep in mind, and also those who are already in the security profession and hoping for career progression for their success in their career, what all they must keep in mind. Few elementary bullet points maybe.
So first thing is that, as I mentioned right in the opening address itself, the face of security is changing. And it is changing very fast. So security, those armed forces officers or those people who are into the physical security, they must enhance their technical skills and start understanding how to integrate the systems, how to know about all the types of system, what is being used, and how to integrate them, how to function with them. That's one thing. And going for the technical skills and technical knowledge or technical courses will be an added advantage for them. Even if you are a hardcore physical security professional, you cannot survive without a CCTV operation. We can't survive without alarms, access control gates. So you need to understand how that is being done. There are short courses which are run by various credible organizations. Doesn't cost much money. It's very cheap, and that helps you enhance your knowledge about it. But a good combination will be a physical security certification and cyber security certification both together. What I advise people is that generally, even if you want to go for cyber security, you should know the physical environment in which you are going to be operating. Once you know the physical environment and then go into the electronic environment, you will be able to do a much better job in the domain of security. Preparation, the armed forces personnel, what I would like to say, many times the people say, sir, 6 महीने पहले मैं कर लूंगा ये सर्टिफिकेशन. मैं उनको कहता हूँ कि वो तब करो जब तुम्हारे पास टाइम है. This is, I am talking about the people who are planning to transition from armed forces to civil. क्योंकि आपको नहीं पता, मेरे साथ बहुत सारे ऑफिसर्स मेरे साथ थे जो कि बोले सर 6 महीने पहले करूंगा या 8 महीने शुरू करूंगा और जाते जाते मैं खत्म कर दूंगा उसको. And in the meantime, they got transferred to places like God-forsaken places in Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, where internet connectivity was not there. They could not make a phone call, and they had to go there, spend last 2 years at that location. So by the time they left the armed forces, they stayed there itself, came back unprepared. So last 2 to 3 years of your service in armed forces, you must devote to prepare yourself well and plan first thing, and then prepare well with the credible qualification and certification. Do not bother that this qualification will expire after 3 years, because there's a process of renewal that is much better than renewing it after 3 years instead of not having that and coming out without proper qualification. That's number one. Those people who are already in the security domain, they must see the type of business they are into it. Suppose somebody is into banking and financial industry, he must go and he must do CFE or the fraud examination or the managing the accounts or which is related with the numbers. They should go in for that. Those people who are into the say life hospital industry, right? There are certifications or the ISO qualifications which are pertaining to only medical services. They must enhance their skills and go into that. There are people who are into what you call manufacturing industries, or they are into e-commerce. They should also, there are various qualifications which are going to comply to that thing. There is ISO 27000, no, ISO 27000 for SMS, ISO 43000 is there, ISO 45000 is there. You must see what are the charters on your organization has signed on. Like, have you ever heard of human rights and voluntary principles, VPSHR? Those companies which are coming from Europe or first world countries, they have got signed on VPSHR. Now they've got very compliant norms for the security professionals that you must comply to VPSHR. Now, what is VPSHR? There are courses for VPSHR. There is also certification for this thing, right? So you're working in that industry, you must qualify for that, and then that helps you in enhancing your skills and going above onto that. There are companies which are using use of force model for the security professionals. So any security professional is not, even if you join them, you have to go through those models. There are specialist organizations or agencies which are hired by these companies. They come and train you as a security professional on those particular charters, and then only you're deployed. I never heard about that thing when I was working in India. And even when I was working in Africa for 2 years, we never signed all those charters. And then suddenly we became signatory on VPSHR, and that became the norm for employment for us and norm of operation. So you have to be open to development, how the corporate philosophy is changing, how the management is taking decisions, and keep upskilling yourself. Languages, again, one thing. You are working in Arizona, you want to take an opportunity in Paris, or you want to go and work in South America, you want to work in Europe, you must work on language skills, Spanish, French. These are the 2 languages you must go for it. So then once you have that makes you credible to take that opportunity. If that opportunity comes that somebody can be moved to Europe, or somebody can move in South America, or somebody can be moved into France. So these are things which you need to identify and keep working on your skills. Risk assessment. The risk assessment model which I use and the risk assessment model which is being used by Reliance, and you're taking the names, you can check for it and you can compare my model which I do it with the risk assessment model which is being used by Reliance, Vodafone, Midcat, Iris. It does not even stand 10% of the risk assessment model which I have got, right? Because we have been trained, and that does not happen in one day. It has not been made in one day. The team of my company, we worked on that for almost 7 to 10 years to reach the stage where we are today. So it's a very holistic process. If I share it with anyone, and that process is such in which you can do business risk, you can do operational risk, you can do project risk, you can do community risk, you can do security risk, you can do safety risk. All type of risk can be covered in that. So I have become a risk professional, and I can do the risk assessment of any operations. Like the financial risk assessment which I did for my operations in Africa, when I sent to the corporate, I got a comment from the CEO. He said, Ajay, I have never seen a financial risk assessment as good as this. Whereas I'm the poorest person on mathematics on numbers. Right?
Yeah, thank you very much, Captain Ajay. We have gathered a lot of information during the discussion, and I am sure our viewers have benefited by this discussion. You have been very candid, and I must appreciate that you have been very professional in sharing the information. The certification uh, bodies are very many. You mentioned very appropriate name of posting by Captain Ravi. He is doing tremendously good service to professionals in industrial security management. There are other bodies also. Names have been mentioned by you. Our security professionals need to realize that upskilling and continual improvement in their professional uh, progression is very, very important. What has changed? And before I make closing comment, I request you, Captain Ajay, to be equally as helpful as you are today whenever you are requested. And I know that through interaction with the experts such as you, the security professionals will be professionalized. And that is the motto of our platform ICISS. And we believe let's professionalize the security professionals. So security professionals today have probably realized that security profession is changing. It is not as it was about 2 decades back. People from armed forces background do not make a natural choice in industrial security management. They have to learn new skills, and more importantly, they have to unlearn few things. Soft skills are those few skills they need to acquire. Then for career progression, they must read, they must write, and it is very common in security fraternity that we security professionals do not read much, and we virtually do not write at all. But if we are not writing, then there is no one to read. And as African proverb goes, that as long lions do not start writing, people will read the glorious adventures of hunters only. So, as lions, as real professionals, we need to write what we have learned. We need to write what we feel others must also know, and acquiring new knowledge, new skills is in any case very beneficial for any professionals. But to be a real professional in security field, we must have the opportunity, we must also have the desire, and we must also have support. Good for us that all these three things are available today for security professionals. If you have desire, then there are opportunities, and there are right professionals who would do handholding. And Captain Ajay is one of those who would do the hand holding, and ICISS is one of the platform which would do hand holding for you. So join in. Our membership is free. We believe in hand holding. We believe in networking. We believe in professionalizing the professionals. And if you subscribe to our channel, you will get the advance notification for our forthcoming discussion. At least once in a month, we try to conduct the discussion. Part of the series is security leadership series. Beside this security leadership series, we also conduct discussions on various other professional subjects. So remain tuned in, remain happy, remain healthy, and